If I can have your attention here in the Media Center, we will continue with our pre-race media availabilities for the Food City 500 with none other than Christopher Bell, driver, the number 20 Toyota Camry for Joe Gibbs Racing. If you have a question for Christopher, raise your hand. We'll get a wireless microphone to you. We'll start with John and then go to Jacob.
John Newby, NBC Sports. I was curious with, the future of COTA on the schedule being kind of uncertain. I just want to get your thoughts on what you feel the future of that track could be on the schedule. Do you enjoy going there? Do you want to see it return?
Yeah, I think that COTA is a world-class facility and a world-class racetrack. And, I think if we have road courses on the schedule, it's probably a good one to go to. And, so I'm okay with it. I'm okay with us getting the road course number back down, which we've slowly but surely been doing. But I think that COTA is a good one to go to.
And then on an entirely different note, obviously you'd be back on the concrete this spring. It still seems like there's a place on the schedule for a dirt race. So if so, where would you want that to be?
I think that there are, a lot of different dirt venues out there, but Eldora is the one that really comes to mind, and I'm sure everybody would say the same thing. But, I don't think that we should go down the path of having one dirt race a year. And I'm just talking about getting rid of road course races, but we don't need to have one road course race either. So, whenever you have that single event, it becomes easy to overlook, and then people don't take it seriously. So, we saw that in road course racing early on in the sport, where people just, if you weren't a good road course racer, you just kind of put it behind you and like, okay, well, you know what, we'll on to the next one. And the dirt race was very much that way. For all the teams that didn't have a dirt driver, that it was just kind of an off week for them, a throwaway event. And certainly the guys that had dirt drivers took it seriously. But I think if you want to go down that route, then you need to add, 2 or 3 of them to make it a priority in the schedule, so that you actually have to work on it to become better and it becomes more of a real race.
We'll go to Jacob, then the Matt, then the Lee.
Jacob Seelman, Race Face Digital. Christopher, you've had some really solid runs the last couple years in the night race, and Kyle was in here earlier and said that he doesn't feel, because of this surface being concrete, that there's as much temperature change and variation compared to other tracks that you guys go to, a spring race versus a fall race. With that said, do you feel like some of the things that have worked for you in the night race can translate here, even though it's during the day?
Yeah, I would say so, and I think that that's a fair comment about concrete tracks not being as, sensitive to ambient conditions. But yeah, certainly it's been a while since we had a daytime race at Bristol, and I think it'll be probably a little different, but nobody really knows how different it's going to be with the next gen car. And our team at least just found out that the treatment on the bottom's a little bit different than last year. So yeah, it's going to be different than what we had the last couple of years in spring Bristol. That's for sure. I can promise you that one.
We'll go to Matt, then to Lee, then to Elliot, then to Chris.
Matt Weaver, Sportsnaut. The past 2 years, reaching the Final Four, you didn't necessarily make it easier on yourself to get there because you were beating guys who had the larger playoff point deficit. So I'm curious, you've won early in the season before, back in 21, Daytona Road Course. How does winning early change the way that you can start trying to approach getting the playoff points and position yourself for September?
Yeah, that's been our focus ever since that 21 season, where we won early and then we never got any more playoff points after that. So, but then 22 and 23 were kind of the same. We just haven't been able to execute on multiple race wins and multiple stage wins, and so that's been a focus the last several years of trying to be the team going into the playoffs that has the points buffer, because certainly whenever you get into the round of 12, the round of 8. I had to win, basically, if I was going to make the Final Four. So I don't know, other than it's the same mentality that we've had. We just have to do a better job of executing it, and getting playoff points are hard. Like, the only way that you get playoff points are by winning races, winning stages, and obviously being up in the final standings, the final regular season standings. But we need to win more. I need to win more, and good news is we want to win more. So, yeah, that's what it's all about.
So, like with the road courses coming up and having a good number of them in the regular season, does it allow you guys to be able to be more aggressive with the stage breaks, to maybe stay out, get on the non-optimal strategy or whatever alternative strategy to get those playoff points?
Yeah, so with the yellow flags being back in place, it definitely opens that up at the road courses, where really you're going to figure out where you stack up on Saturday, where you practice, you qualify, and then when the race falls, if you feel like you have a car capable of winning the race, then you're probably going to jump the stages, and you're not going to get the stage wins. But, say you're a guy that's doesn't have the pace to win the race. If a playoff point is given to you by everyone short pitting the stages and racing for the win, then it's definitely something that we would consider. I believe we did that at maybe like Indy road course a couple years ago, where we knew that we didn't have the pace to win the race, so everyone short pitted the stages and we took the points. But yeah, I mean, that's one of the few rare occasions that it happens, maybe like a Pocono or something like that. But certainly at the road courses, we hope to have the pace to win. But if not, it does open that option up to try and, take the stage points and the playoff point.
Go to Lee, then to Elliot, then to Chris.
Lee Spencer, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio and CatchFence.com. I'm curious, you've had a lot of success at Richmond in the Xfinity Series, and I'm wondering, now that you've had success with this new short track package at Phoenix, when we go back to another short track like Richmond, do you think that'll help your drive there?
I think that Richmond will be a good track for us, and I think statistically it's probably one of my best Cup tracks too. But I obviously haven't reached victory lane there, so. It's a unique place because the Xfinity strategy-wise is pretty self-explanatory. You're going to run to the stage break, you're going to put tires on and do the same thing all race. But the Cup race, you have to make a green flag stop, and then the tire fall off is so big that you might make 2 green flag stops in one stage. So there's a lot that goes into it, and in order to win at Richmond, you have to have like the whole package. You have to have your entire team clicking. It's not a place where a driver can make up for a bad car or a bad pit crew or anything like that. So Richmond it's a team racetrack. You have to have the right strategy. You have to have great pit stops. You have to have a great driver, and obviously a great car. And we've been close. I think I've been a top 10 car there majority of the time, but haven't sealed the deal yet. So hopefully, maybe this year's the year.
Elliot Stern, Sports Talk 805. Last week you did well on a bigger track, longer runs. You can't do that on this tiny little track. How big of an adjustment is it for you and all the drivers to come from long tracks, bigger tracks, to this little tiny track that we're in this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, there is an adjustment period for sure, and that's a little bit unique to Bristol itself, because even at Martinsville, it's a half mile at length. The speed is slower than here, so the acclimation time isn't as big. But definitely that first run of practice, I think all of us are going to be out of breath, and the crew chief's going to be asking us, what do we need on the car? And you're like, hang on, I'm just trying to breathe in here. So the acclimation period for Bristol is probably the biggest of the schedule. And the runs at Bristol, while the lap times are short, the lap count is really, really high. So a 90 lap run at Phoenix is probably a little bit easier on us than a 125 lap run, which we have to do stage 1 of the race on Sunday. So the lap count being high here makes it a little bit tougher.
Chris Weaver, Fox AWGHP High Point. Christopher, you had a bit part in the Netflix special last year when you got in the Final Four. How do you think that Netflix special raises your visibility, all of the drivers' visibility, to fans that aren't necessarily NASCAR fans? And how important is it, you think, for NASCAR drivers to be, or for NASCAR to have a superstar, somebody who really is known outside of the core fan base?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the name of the game for the whole Netflix deal, was to try and get, more eyes, more casual fans engaged with their sport, and to understand, the process of what a NASCAR race is. It's not just cars turning left. I can promise you that. And the getting superstars is what gets fans to watch. So it all goes hand in hand, and hopefully that was step one of getting us more exposure and getting the sport back to where it was.
Go next to Shane and then to Michael.
Christopher, Shane Connick, Charlotte Observer. How important is that, for you, especially, being on the younger side in this sport, as the sport continues to, reach new audiences and move forward in this social media digital age to, be able to have, both NASCAR fans who know you as a driver see so much of your personality in addition to new fans?
Yeah, I mean, it's been something that I haven't been very good at. It's just, showing my personality, who I am, to the general public. And so, yeah, I whenever I got the opportunity to be on the Netflix show, I tried to open up as much as I could. And, yeah, I mean, I just hope that we're able to keep it going and keep the momentum going. I know that the ratings have been really good this year, and there's been a lot of positivity going into 2024. So hopefully we can keep the ball rolling.
Michael Massey, front stretch. You won the last dirt race here last year. Do you feel like the defending race winner, or do you feel like the last NASCAR driver to ever win on dirt, for now at least?
Yeah, I don't feel like the defending race winner. It feels like we're at a different venue right now compared to what it was 12 months ago. But it is cool that I won the last dirt race, and I take pride in that because obviously I'm a dirt track racer, and that's what I grew up doing. But it definitely feels like a different venue. Like when you came here for the dirt race, it didn't feel like you were at Bristol.
Next to Davey.
Davey Siegel with SiriusXM NASCAR Radio. Going off of Chris's Netflix question, how's your grass looking these days?
I'd give it like an 86, 87. So B+. It's getting there. Getting there.
What's like the routine? Do you have one to maintain it?
So not yet. I am just recently into the yard fanatic, I guess, stage of life. So hopefully, at one point I want to get to where I can do it all myself, but I'm not there yet.
Okay. You've spoken before about, wanting to win 5, 6, 7 races a year, not just the guy who wins once or twice a year, and being the guy that leads the team, is the guy to beat going to each track. Have you felt, whether it's this year, years before, whatever, undervalued or appreciated by whether it's the fan base or people out there? Like, does that drive you at all, and do you pay attention to that stuff?
I mean, I would say that it does motivate me a little bit. And, I want to be clear that, like, inside, my team, the competition industry, like, I feel like people know that what the 20 car or where they're at or where we're at, and it's just the outer regions that don't or haven't, and hopefully, frankly, I got to win. Like I'm not a talker, I'm not a shower. I hope to be a winner, and I know that in order for people to talk about me, I have to win, and winning 7 races is not there yet. So I want to win, and make you guys talk about me because of the on-track product.
Do we have any additional questions for Christopher? We'll go up here to Bob. He may reveal his picks for this week. I'm not sure.
8 a.m. Sundays, so everybody knows. Going back to COTA, I'm just where they've moved the restart zone to the kind of exit of turn 20. Just how will that impact the race? And also, have you seen where they've kind of repaved and patched, and how do you think that'll impact the race?
Yeah, I actually did a little bit of simulator work last week, and the patches. There's a lot of patches. They added some last year, and they did more this year. So that's going to definitely, I would think, affect the strategy a little bit as far as tire management or when you're going to put tires on, stuff like that. And then the restart zone. While I don't think it's going to be a home run, I think that it'll be in the right direction of, trying to get us spread out where we don't look like a bunch of buffoons running into each other, getting into turn 1. So, I think that the road course stuff is going to be a work in progress as far as getting the cars to where we don't just kill each other getting into those 90-degree corners. And, it's going to be another learning experience for us.
Wrap up with Dustin.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. In regards to what you were saying about superstars, I'm curious, what makes a superstar to you? Because certainly with the way that this car is and it's about even competition, it's harder and harder now to see guys win much more than 5 races a year. So there's this, everybody's kind of in the way the same, or a similar number of wins. What constitutes a superstar to you at this level?
I think I'm probably the wrong person to ask that question, just because I don't know. I have a hard time understanding who a superstar is in general. Like, what is a superstar? Just a famous person? I don't know. It's certainly.
How do you personally view it? I mean, are you a superstar? Is driver X, driver Y? Is it what? How do you base it?
I mean, yeah, I would say that in my eyes, the superstars of the sport are the Kyle Busch, the Denny Hamlin, the probably Logano and Keselowski, the guys that have won the most races out of the group. But to your point, it's becoming harder and harder to do that, right? Like the days of the big 3 with Truex, Harvick, and Kyle Busch are a long ways away now. So, I don't know if we'll ever get back there. And it's just it's positives and negatives, right? We've gotten away from those key guys winning races, but now we have more parity in our sport, and you never know who's going to win whenever you go into a Sunday. It could be one of 15, 20 cars. So yeah, I mean, I guess in my eyes, the superstars are the winners and the guys that have won the most, like Kyle and Denny.
Thank you.
Well, Christopher, thanks for joining us today, and good luck.
Thank you.